heavy hitters are back, man. Big H's. I'm your boy Jay.
I'm your boy Amy.
I'm your boy Morrow.
Yeah.
Now, we usually, when we do these series of What Went Wrong, it's usually just, a superstar. What went wrong with their career? We ain't doing just one superstar today. We're doing a whole freaking promotion.
A whole freaking company.
You could say during its heyday, it was total, nonstop action.
And it was at a high point at one point in in the
09,
wrestling.
09?
Even
08?
before that though, 05, early days TNA. It was it was high stakes. It was a great place to watch, wrestling. If you wasn't really watching WWE, TNA was fun.
Hey,
if you couldn't figure it out, we're doing What Went Wrong TNA.
Real quick.
TNA video, What Went Wrong.
Let's do something like this. Who the first TNA World Champion?
The
first NWA Champion?
The first NWA Champion? That's a hard one. I have to do my research.
I know AJ was the first X Division champion.
No,
I said X Division.
I know, that's not what I said. I think it was Ron Killings. R-Truth. If I'm right.
Maybe that's probably why I don't remember who was the first champion, because it was a joke.
What? No.
I mean,
Let's play the game of who gets
R-Truth ended up becoming a joke over the years. And
Kurt Angle.
No, hell no. Kurt Angle's first TNA champion?
That's what it says.
No.
That can't be true either. Kurt Angle joined in 06, I think.
I think it was Ken Shamrock. And then Ken Shamrock lost to Ron Killings. Alright, this is Ken Shamrock. I was wrong.
So you tried to be right and you was wrong. So
My bad, y'all.
here we go. What went wrong with TNA? So we all gonna give our thoughts, and then we just gonna say what we feel went wrong, what a company went just drastically downhill at. And now, if you want to watch Impact, it's Impact Wrestling. You can check it out on, I think, Access TV or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's smaller now, than it used to be. Not that many fans in the arenas now.
Remember when TNA used to get 1 million views a week?
Yeah, and it's so let's just say,
I remember when TNA was over in London and they had these big packed crowds.
Yeah. Let's just talk about peak TNA for a minute, okay? So AJ Styles, Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, Bobby Roode, James Storm, even when Ric Flair went down there, Jay Lethal, just all of the greats in TNA.
So you put it in some water.
Yeah, that's what I should have did with mine.
Yeah, these were kind of in the freezer.
Yeah, so I wanted to run some hot water on it for sure.
You just don't refuse to listen.
But nonetheless, TNA was one of my favorite things to watch. I feel like I was watching it actively, because I was watching Raw. I actually started, when I really first started watching wrestling, I was avidly into, WWE, Raw, SmackDown, but I was checking out TNA, and this show actually good. The wrestling over there was on point, and I didn't know that many wrestlers because I was younger, but as I just kept watching them, it's fun to watch. And over the years, I just kept on watching it. Jeff Hardy was over there. Some of the people I really rock with, RVD was over there, So it's I don't know, man, what y'all think? What was y'all initial, when y'all just first seen TNA, y'all was like, this could be a potential show that could compete with WWE, maybe.
Now,
you never thought that? No.
Now,
even as a shorty, I never thought that.
The time frame of when I jumped in was a little bit late. Obviously, it wasn't when it came around in 2002. I was only 2 years old.
I wasn't watching it that early either.
For me, I remember exactly where I got it. It was 2012. Ironically, around the same time period I started watching WWE. It was 2012, and I remember the prime feud they had going was Jeff Hardy was the world champion, Austin Aries was the challenger. Bobby Roode wasn't in it yet.
That was 2013 when he got in the mix, but yeah.
No, it was him and Aries, because Jeff Hardy beat him at Bound for Glory, so this was Aries winning his rematch. I think it was at Victory Road or something they were trying to do it at. So I remember that whole feud. That's where it started for me.
I was thinking about Genesis 2013 when it was Aries versus Hardy versus Roode. Triple threat for the TNA World title.
Yeah.
One of the great triple threat matches in TNA history. But,
You know, you can actually go back and watch it on their YouTube channel.
yeah, they be put, and it's crazy because they actually like putting up the full episodes too from like 2013 on their YouTube page. But nonetheless, as we like TNA was just at a peak at one point where it was actually good. You know, it was a good show. They had good storylines going. I mean, they stole a lot of WWE stories too. The main one was the AJ Styles and Magnus storyline with the CM Punk and John Cena. AJ won the title, went off, defended the gold all over the world, basically the same thing CM Punk did. Then he came back with the real title. Like, nah, this the championship right here, the one I beat you for.
Or another one where it was Magnus was the champion and Eric Young was the challenger. You know, kind of that Randy Orton, Daniel Bryan kind of thing. Because, you know, Magnus had like the clean shave, good hairdo, could be the face. And then you had Eric Young, who was like the scruffy, bearded kind of like.
EY was all, he always looked at a little, you know. You used to say he looked like he used to, you know, do that stuff.
Well, that's when he went bald, is when he was talking about.
Yeah.
But I like this theme song during that time period. That dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, I hear that wacky theme song. He was Showtime Eric Young. But I want to make a point. Oh, go ahead.
All right, so let me tell y'all when I started.
Go ahead, yeah. We almost forgot. Basically, you was on here for a minute.
Oh, man.
Because you
Yeah, we damn near was doing it.
Yeah, y'all leave me out,
was
man.
talking about my man sniffing and stuff.
Anyway, now when I started watching TNA was kind of newer. It was like, I think like 04, 05-ish. And like, they had some people over there. You know, AJ Styles was young. God damn.
Jeez.
AJ Styles was young. Oh, there was all these new people that like, and obviously I already knew in my head as a kid. I knew, all right, these superstars really ain't like as made as the WWE superstars. Like, ain't no Batista over here, ain't no John Cena over here, but there's some dudes over here though. Like,
It was like talent. Like you knew they weren't on that level, but it was watchable.
And but like, and I didn't really care about in ring. I just I wanted the babyface to win all the time, and I wanted the heel to lose all the time. So you know, I liked AJ Styles. He wasn't really a promo dude, like, but he was like, I liked him because he did some crazy stuff.
Yeah, exciting.
Like, so, you know, and then like I remember I saw Kurt Angle go over there. Oh yeah, Kurt Angle.
Woke you up like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
My favorite wrestler.
Yes, sir. So then, you know, he started the thing with Samoa Joe. That was like 06, 07. You know, so Kurt Angle and Samoa, that's when Samoa Joe was undefeated. He was just on a roll.
Killer.
Like,
Had Sting come into the picture yet? Because
No,
I know Sting came in the mix.
Sting was kind of there from the beginning though, I think. Like, cause you
Yeah,
know,
like once he left WCW,
Yeah.
he went over there.
yeah, like his.
I'll give it credit to Sting. Sting packed out his own illustrious career in TNA before finally jumping over to AEW, or not AEW, WWE. And it was one of those like, okay, WCW shut down. He went to TNA, did his thing in TNA, and then he finally jumped.
That's really where I know Sting from, though.
Yeah.
TNA, like even though he was in WCW,
It took me a little minute. I had to get older, and Sting was the man.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he was
Back
John
then,
Cena back then. He was
that's
Undertaker back, like that type of dude.
The fact that gets me is, I mean, you look at Sting now. This man started in WCW, went to TNA, went to WWE, and is now in AEW. This man just
he been everywhere.
He-
Man.
he
He a
been
legend
everywhere.
in this business for sure. Like you gotta respect Sting.
he went over to Wrestling Noah and everything. Had a 6-man tag match with Great Muda.
Yeah,
Was on his way out the door for his retirement match.
Yeah, man, Sting definitely paved his craft. But I also want to make a point about one of probably the biggest things that happened in TNA. You mentioned it, the Aces and Eights run. So this all started with just a bunch of like biker type dudes and maxed up, just attacking people backstage. All the TNA originals, Kurt Angle, you know, Sting, all of them just attacking people. And it was like, you know, nobody really knew what to make of it. Oh, another Nexus. Just a bunch of dudes beating people up. But it was
that's
a
what
little...
I thought, because when I kept up with them, and then I was watching. This is when I was starting to also go back and watch old wrestling. I was like, I saw Nexus. I'm like, damn, this is like a TNA version of Nexus, just more like biker oriented.
Yeah, Aces and Eights. Nexus had initially 8 members before D. Bryan got fired.
But the big thing for me was the whole coup, because you know it's like Bully Ray. He was like, yeah, I'm fine for the originals. I'm all for TNA. Just to turn around and be like, nah, I'm the leader. I'm the leader of Aces and Eights.
That was probably my favorite run. I liked. I remember when Jeff Hardy defended the title against Bully Ray in a cage at Lockdown.
People were genuinely displeased. I think
Bro,
because
they was throwing stuff in the ring.
I think
bro.
because of that match alone. That's why wrestling shows now, if you get like bottled drinks, they have to take the cap.
Yeah.
It's because of that. It's probably because of that very moment because they were throwing
everything. Bro, when Bully Ray beat Jeff Hardy, when Bully Ray joined Aces and Eights,
he was all set up. Everything was getting thrown. Beer bottles, water bottles,
bro. Everything, bro. He
you
was
saw
married
stuff
to Brooke Hogan.
flying everywhere.
He was married to Brooke Hogan. So he turned his back on Hulk Hogan. He turned his back on the woman he married to join these members. To join his brother, Devon.
Well, he did that to manipulate the system to get him into the title. Yeah. All this was just to get him to the title picture.
And it's crazy, bro. Yeah, you right. That the aftermath was incredible. Like the fans legitimately was disgusted by that.
That's genuine heat right there.
And they was throwing, cans was flying in, everything was just flying in the ring. And that was the spark. Now, Bully Ray was the president. Devon was like the vice president.
No, Mr. Anderson.
No, Mr. Anderson was vice president. Devon was like
the sergeant at arms.
Yeah, sergeant at arms. So you had, Big Mike Knox. You had
Wes Briscoe.
It was trash.
Mike Knox was terrible in WWE. Just a monster.
You had Mike Knox. You had Wes Briscoe. You had Garrett Bishop.
Garrett Bishop. Like what?
That's wild.
At one, it was.
You gotta
just,
be Eric Bischoff's son or something.
Nah, he was just.
No, he was. He is. He's genuinely his son.
Just Garrett Bishop.
He had a whole feud with his dad too in TNA.
That's insane.
Y'all going crazy, but hold on, before y'all go into y'all little thing.
That just bringing back a lot of some of my favorite moments from TNA.
My biggest thing from TNA, like I said, did I mention Samoa Joe when he was on the chair and Kurt Angle came back? Mm-hmm. But let me Samoa Joe was he was undefeated. He was just going crazy, just destroying everybody and everything. This is young Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
And he had this title or something. I think maybe he had a title or something. But the thing, he was destroying everybody. And he was undefeated.
Are you talking about when he had the tire tracks or whatever printed on his face?
He had the Samoan thing on his face.
Oh, Samoan, I suppose.
Yeah. So he was
I apologize if not mean to offend you all.
No, it's all good. Whatever. So he this was on the tear.
This was also during the Mexico draft. This was also during when they had the 6-sided ring.
Yeah. That was the innovative thing too. They had six sides and all that. That was a little different. So they were trying to be different.
Some people came out though and said that was very difficult there because they're used to the 4 sides and it being this side, this certain dimension. It's they're okay, how are we doing this because we went from 4 to 6.
Yeah, it probably was a little tough. But my thing with Kurt Angle was the biggest thing they ever had, at that point. And when he came out and just destroyed Samoa Joe, I don't know, because he was like, can't nobody stop me, I'm undefeated. Kurt Angle came out and just giving it to him. It feels like Kurt Angle is in the impact zone. What?
That was amazing. You want to know something crazy? I heard they said Cena almost went there. They say if Cena would have went to TNA, imagine how wrestling would have looked today if Cena would have went to TNA.
Would have been completely different.
They say he almost went there. They say Brock would have went there, but they weren't trying to give him that money though.
Oh yeah, the same deal.
I
forgot Kurt Angle said something like that. Because he wanted the same. Because they was working less dates. It was like AEW. They weren't doing. They were just kind of doing TVs. They weren't doing.
Well, they only had one television show a week. Well, no, they had this other show. When they were outside the country, I forgot what it was called.
But I'm just talking about they only really worked one day a week. They weren't doing. They weren't doing all the. You got to work 300 days a year in WWE, and have all these matches. Probably have 150 matches a year. Probably all the type of stuff.
Well, because I don't think TNA had live events like that at the time either.
Probably
I think
not.
they were doing those one night only things. That were kind of pay-per-view-ish, kind of not, but they didn't really have live
fight night type of things where they had just.
So
but TNA was interesting.
Well, I like their version of NXT where they had gut check, where they had all these up and comers,
contracts, fighting for contracts.
Yeah,
Brian Cage was down there fighting for a contract.
Or the open fight night that they had.
Yeah,
I did like the Feast of Fire. It was kind of
the briefcase.
Yeah, they had. It was folded. One was for an X Division title. One was for a world title. One was for
the tag titles.
Yeah, and then one you got fired.
Yo, boy was had the briefcase for a minute. Jackson Riker or Gunner. He was Gunner down there.
Yeah, but he got cost the match though because James Storm interfered.
So man, like peak TNA was some. I would say peak TNA. I was interested in it.
I keep forgetting that too. Jackson Riker was in TNA. He was Gunner. I keep forgetting that.
I feel like peak TNA, and I've said this, and I might not say this in front of you. You know what I said about peak TNA. So,
you've opened the wound now. You gotta say.
Well, I just said back in the, on a Facebook post that peak TNA was better than AEW, like their peak or whatever their peak is.
I don't think they touched it yet, or even got close to it. They 4 years in. TNA was around at that point for probably like 8 years or something.
It wasn't that long.
Well, you said 05 when you was talking about,
like
so probably
06,
like,
07,
probably like
like
6-7 years, but yeah, like so. The
but
big question is
their peak wasn't that long though.
Nah, it kind of ended. But the big question is what went wrong. So we all know what TNA or Impact is now. It's not that relevant.
I'll say this, right? They overpaid a lot of people. A lot of people. They pushed the wrong people sometimes. They had bad management. Nobody know how to manage. Like Dixie Carter was a terrible owner.
I think that's the big thing for me is it comes down to management. I mean, you look at it and the Carter family ran it for the longest from like basically the inception until now, and then it got taken over by Jeff Jarrett again. Or no, Jeff Jarrett was the original owner.
Right.
Then it went down to Dixie. Then it went back to Jeff Jarrett, who combined it with Global Force. Then that split off. Then it was owned by Anthem. And then now it's owned by Billy Corgan.
But I'm gonna say this. You said what went wrong.
I know Billy Corgan doesn't own it anymore. I think Anthem owns it.
We say what went wrong with TNA. Bad booking. Overpaying people who didn't really deserve the money. Bad management. You know, these things are very similar.
That's
to some
three
things
key
going on
things.
today.
That's 3 key things. I feel like, in my opinion, when AJ Styles left, it just went downhill.
It was downhill before. It wasn't even that good.
Because even in 2013 through 14, TNA was still watchable. Like, I was still heavily invested in TNA. But when AJ left after he lost to Magnus and he went to New Japan, I was done with TNA. Because there was nothing else for me to really watch over there no more. Aces and Ace was done.
Well, no, you had the Beatdown Clan and the Rising with Drew.
Bobby Lashley came over there later on and started going crazy. But I ain't gonna lie, they did have a group. It was Bobby, Caval, or Low Key.
No, Bobby wasn't in at the time. It was Low Key, Samoa Joe, MVP,
Kenny King,
and Kenny King.
Yeah. So that was just like that. Okay, that was like around 2015ish. Like that was like TNA was transitioning to a whole nother type of thing. Now, it wasn't really TNA. It was becoming Impact.
Well, then they also had Hernandez, but then he had this whole contract confliction with Lucha.
Yeah.
Because MVP wanted to bring him in. Hernandez was still under contract. He left and everything else. But I think for me, outside of the management, is I think not only was it WWE starting to take a lot of their top guys like a Samoa Joe, like an Eric Young, like even James Storm went over there, Robert Roode, you have AJ Styles, all these guys, but then you also have to look at when AEW came into the picture, you had their guys like Frankie Kazarian going over, you had their Christopher Daniels, you have Chris Sabin, who still from time to time still goes over.
And that's what my point was. Everybody was leaving. So when I said, like basically, that's another thing that went wrong. But everybody was leaving.
But
too.
I know the major points, right? So, like, bad booking, overpaying people who didn't really deserve that type of money, bad management. It's very similar to some things going on right now, today. I'm not gonna say anything.
Them key points.
But those are the things that to me, like, really, like, you know, you can't have a terrible owner, you know, trying to run a wrestling company. They don't really know what they're doing. So, you know.
Are you just trying to make sure you make a subtle jab? Is that what it is? Because you keep going back to it.
It's subliminal.
I'm talking about TNA.
Like, you know what he's talking about, but he's not actually saying it.
But the thing is, you're saying, like, we're dealing with today. Now, I know for a fact, you're targeting one promotion over the other.
What am I doing?
It was just we're talking about TNA. It was just like the same thing with Logan Paul, and he's the best 3-match superstar than other guys. Me and him ain't stupid. We know what you're targeting. We're not dumb. If you want to say it, say it.
No, I said it was bad booking, overpaying people who didn't deserve that type of money, bad management. That's what went wrong. And it's similar to things we see now.
I think the other bad thing is, I think it's because they're having superstars that obviously have other contractual obligations to different promotions coming in and out, because you have like one of their current guys they have right now, Kushida. He's a New Japan dude.
He was a joke.
He was on a little winning streak in NXT, and then what happened?
He was the man, and
he was in a tag team with Buddy. What's his name? Ikemen Jiro. He just came back on NXT.
What?
Ikemen Jiro.
That sounds like a disease.
No, he's not back on the NXT.
He is. Remember, if you watch this past episode when Schism was in the ring, he popped out of like one of the masks, and then he just started dancing and stuff. Like, and
Bro,
people was wondering like what happened.
Going back?
Yeah, people was like wondering what happened to him. Bro, he wrestled with a jacket on, bro. Him and Kushida was in a tag team called Jacket Time. They wrestled with jackets on.
His tag team with
Yeah,
Alex
sure.
Shelley and Chris Sabin, the Time Splitters, is better than that, because Kushida, in New Japan, he's a former IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, Tag Champion. He won, I think, a Best of the Super Juniors. He was one of the best juniors they had in New Japan.
He can wrestle. You know, this might be off topic, but another New Japan person that WWE wasted was Hideo Itami. I feel like he was incredible in the ring. Like, y'all probably know who Hideo Itami is.
No, he did the GTS.
Yeah, Kenta, basically.
He did the GTS.
Yeah.
He did better than CM Punk.
I mean, yeah, he was the originator of the GTS.
He just recently lost to Eddie Kingston first time.
Oh, yeah, so he's still wrestling right now.
Yeah, New Japan. He's
So-
part of the G1 right now.
So, I mean, we kind of going all over the place right
So,
now.
yeah, man, so basically, so what went wrong with TNA, basically, he said bad booking, overpaying wrestlers,
and bad management.
and bad management. I agree
he had
with
4 things.
I agree with that, and
What was
then
the other one?
Paying superstars way too much money.
Yeah,
that was
that's another one.
that's
So he had
the
4. He had 4.
I said bad booking, bad management, and overpaying superstars.
That's where you had one more, but I don't know.
No, I just said mine was personally too. I agree with those, but then I said a lot of the guys, like you said, just leaving. Like all of the names that was over there just started to go to different companies, and it just kind of blew over TNA. Like it was no more. It was nothing else really there to really watch. But yeah, man, if y'all watch TNA, man, growing up, y'all know it had its moments,
It was
and,
going crazy.
and it was good. You know, they made a few mistakes.
Trying to compete with Raw.
Yeah, one of them was putting TNA on Mondays.
Slaughter.
You know, in like 2010.
It
So
was like
that was,
08 or something. Yeah,
and
it was around there.
It was 2010. So I
2010.
remember when Jeff Hardy made his debut. On
Yeah,
the first
2010,
one in
okay.
2010. But yeah, like, you know,
I feel like the other big thing was, at the time, for the longest, they had a channel deal with Spike.
Right.
And Spike's one of those big name channels, and they
Yeah.
get Spike allowed them to get away with more, because if I'm not mistaken, didn't they also have some UFC on Spike too?
Yeah, I mean,
Bellator,
and
MMA.
what you call it, and even when WWE was PG, TNA was still TV 14.
yeah.
So like they had that channel deal, but then when they moved off into, because not many people have access TV.
Yeah, I don't even.
I
think
have
that's
it,
like
but I barely watch it.
That's like you gotta download that. Don't you?
No,
it's
it's
an actual channel.
it's an actual
Cable channel. Yeah, I feel like if I was to watch TNA, I probably would have to download the TNA app or something.
They
Nonetheless,
didn't really have it now.
yeah, but nonetheless, man, that's you know, that's been TNA. What went wrong? You know, we all watched it at one point. We all seen his
It was
high
pretty
points
good
and
at
low
one point.
points. You know, but you know, it's at a very, very low point today. I feel like, you know, we got to talk about some of the women from down there as well that you know, went that transition, like the Gail Kims, the Terras.
You know, but
You
I
know,
will.
all of those
I'm gonna give
people.
TNA this though. They were the first to treat women like women wrestling like legit.
Yeah.
With Gail Kim and all of them, they were the first one like to treat women like.
The beautiful people, Velvet Sky, Madison Rain, Angelina Love, they was them women down there.
They was going
You
crazy.
know, so but yeah, man, let us know in the comment section if y'all rock with the channel, if y'all rock with TNA in the past, if y'all still watching now.
One final thing, speaking of Impact actually going into this week, believe it or not, time's flown this much and it's taking us on, but they finally have reached their 1,000th episode coming Thursday.
Damn, they've been on TV for like 15, 20 years. Well, no, that makes sense though. Yeah. All right, cool. So yeah, it is 1,000.
Impact 1,000. With, ironically, the return of Angelina Love and Velvet Sky.
Two women who really couldn't wrestle, but they was definitely, the name definitely made sense. Beautiful people because they is too. Three beautiful women.
Weren't they doing the Cody Rhodes thing where they was putting bags on people's heads? Was they doing that?
I don't know.
I don't remember. But nonetheless, that's our What Went Wrong with TNA. Like I stated in the last two, we are on the road to 300 subs.
300
by Survivor
No
Series.
Chief Keef.
And at the end of the year, 500 subscribers.
Hey, you funny as heck.
We know we can get there. Show
But
everyone you love. Show them our videos. Show them the content.
They asked Keith in the interview back in the day, how old you is? He said, I'm 300.
Oh, bro. He was going crazy.
We need 300 subs, man, in honor of Chief Keef.
Bang, bang.
But, but nonetheless, we on the rise. We on the hunt. We're going to get there because we're on top. We're the champions here, taking on wrestling one video at a time.
I'm your boy, the world heavyweight champion, Morrow.
I'm your boy, Emily.
Money Making Jay with the greatest wrestling shirt of all time. Look at it, man. Look at it.
I'm a Collision guy.
I'm a Juice WRLD fan. I love Juice. We out.
Yeah.